Hi all, I'm Allie.
I'm Toby.
And I'm Hunter, and we are seniors in high school in Marin County. And through personal experience and research, we've seen a need for more relevant information about drugs and alcohol for 11th and 12th graders.
In this video, we will go over information about alcohol and a variety of drugs, as well as their potential risks and effects, as well as how to safely navigate the current drug use landscape in high school. First off, the safest form of drug and alcohol use is to not consume at all.
These substances are illegal for minors, and we highly recommend that you do not partake. However, we also understand that because Marin County has the highest rates of binge drinking in the country, approximately 3 times higher than the national average, education about how to reduce harm is essential.
37% of Marin County 11th graders report binge drinking in the past month, compared to the statewide average of just 23%. Binge drinking is defined as consuming 4 to 5 drinks in a period of 2 hours or less. This can lead to a much more rapid changes within the body and is considered riskier. Now, overdrinking can lead to blacking out, throwing up, and a complete loss of control over your actions, which can lead to extreme consequences. Let's start with the effects. Alcohol, even in low quantity, slows down the brain's ability to communicate with itself and the rest of the body. This impairs judgment, memory, and coordination. It is also crucial to note that if you weigh more and are male, the alcohol may have less effect. However, if you are on medications such as Accutane, birth control, or Lexapro, have not eaten, and do not have much experience drinking, the effects can be more significant. It is smart to check all these factors.
The BAC calculator is a smart tool to use before drinking.
For the average 200-pound male, like me, 5 drinks is what it would take to get me to 0.08, or the legal limit for driving for adults.
For someone like me, a female who weighs 120 pounds, it would take me about 3 drinks to reach the legal driving limit of 0.08 after 2 hours.
Some people may think that alcohol poisoning is simply getting too drunk, but it is truly a life-threatening situation most of the time, as it shuts down areas of the brain, including heart rate regulation, breathing functions, and temperature control. So, how can you prevent alcohol poisoning? Well, as we mentioned before, knowing your limits, spacing out your drinks, making sure to continue drinking water, and eating before drinking can all reduce the likelihood of poisoning. But unfortunately, last year alone, there were 57,000 cases of alcohol-related emergency room visits among American teens aged 12 to 17. So it's important to understand the symptoms and solutions to alcohol poisoning. And there are many signs and symptoms to look out for. Although confusion, slowed response, or lack of coordination are symptoms, those can also be associated with just being drunk in general. And so the more obvious symptoms of alcohol poisoning specifically are violent vomiting, accidental urination, unconsciousness, slowed breathing or heart rate, cold or clammy skin, and low body temperature, as well as seizures. Also, any blood in the vomit is highly concerning. If someone around you is experiencing any of the symptoms, the very best option is to seek help immediately. You can either call 911 or call their parents depending on severity. If you call 911 when your friend is experiencing alcohol poisoning, both you and your friend are immune from legal consequences provided you cooperate with emergency personnel. And many colleges also have similar rules protecting students. These are called Good Samaritan laws.
Additionally, if your friend is throwing up, it is important to put them into the recovery position to prevent choking, shown right here. Another risk of alcohol is spiked drinks. For example, Rufinol, otherwise known as roofies, and other date rape drugs can make you feel tired, lose motor control, lose memory, making you unaware of your surroundings and more open to suggestions. The effects can last hours, and 1 in 13 college kids have reported to have been drugged with these substances. Additionally, the symptoms can seem similar to getting too drunk, so if you think that the amount of alcohol you or your friend has consumed does not match up to how they feel, then go to someone and ask for help. To prevent being drugged, it's important to pay attention to where your drinks are coming from and only drinking something you know and trust the source, as well as going out with friends that you feel comfortable with. You can even buy drink covers and test strips to make sure your drink is safe.
Lastly, and we cannot emphasize this enough, don't drink alcohol and drive.
At a BAC of 0.05%, which is just 2 to 3 drinks for most people, the risk of getting into a car crash is raised 7 times. And at a BAC of 0.08%, which is the legal limit for adults to be driving, it becomes 12 times more likely.
In 2023, drunk driving accidents made up 31% of all car crash-related deaths in the US. So the bottom line is that there's no safe amount for teenagers to be drinking, even if they plan on driving.
Every single time you choose to drink and then drive while under the influence, you endanger not only yourself and your own future, but also the safety of everyone around you.
While it may seem difficult or impractical at the time, calling an Uber, a parent, or friend to pick you up can save lives.
Next up, another very common substance, cannabis, also known as weed, which can lead to altered perceptions, mood changes, and heightened emotions. It is important to note that despite what some people say, cannabis is addictive, and about 30% of people who regularly use weed are addicted, according to research done by Stanford Medicine.
In Marin County specifically, over 30% of 11th graders reported using cannabis in the last 30 days.
Which is nearly double the state average of 17%.
Weed can come in many different forms, each of which have a different way of affecting the body. There are ways to smoke it, including a pen, a blunt, and a bong, which can take effect quickly, whereas edibles, which take longer to take effect, about 30 minutes to 2 hours, and don't peak in effect until 4 hours. The amount you are consuming and how often will also play a role.
Similar to driving while under the influence of alcohol, driving while high is just as legally and physically harmful as drinking and driving. Police are developing a breathalyzer that could potentially catch people using cannabis while driving, so don't do it. While it is virtually impossible to die directly from an overdose, weed is considered a psychedelic, and so it can lead to severe panic attacks, psychosis, and seizures. So like alcohol, it is important to take it slow when consuming weed, especially edibles, as this will reduce the risk of short-term problems.
Edibles are particularly risky because not only do they last longer, but there are also no regulations on the dosages.
So even if a package says it has a certain amount of milligrams of cannabis in it, there's no guarantee that is accurate.
Psychedelics in general can be risky, as they are linked to psychosis, especially when used in conjunction with medications associated with treating mental health disorders. So be sure to check what medications you are on.
Additionally, long-term, frequent cannabis use can cause problems with brain development among teens, especially related to memory and IQ. This can seep into other pieces of your life, such as schoolwork.
Prescription drugs are also quite common and shared among teenagers. People can obtain prescription drugs for anxiety like Valium, Xanax, Ativan, and for ADHD like Adderall and Ritalin. Kids who get these drugs to treat various symptoms will often use them to feel more relaxed or more productive and focused, and can share them or sell them to peers who may not have had the same condition as them and are unable to access them legally. These drugs are harder to regulate because they are given out by doctors and are frequently spread among high school students, especially in Marin.
The rate of prescription drug misuse among Marin County 11th graders is actually 25% higher than the state average. And approximately 24% of Marin County 11th graders have misused prescription drugs recreationally.
Taking these drugs when not prescribed can lead to addiction, especially when mixing with other substances like alcohol.
Opioids and painkillers are also frequently misused and are often laced with lethal doses of fentanyl or other substances that can go unnoticed. Opioids are highly addictive and can also cause long-term respiratory problems, and over time it is easy to build a tolerance, increasing the risk for addiction exponentially compared to other drugs.
Fentanyl is a very strong painkiller and is occasionally used for the most severe chronic pain in a medical setting. It is also, however, the drug that has led to 224 Americans dying per day. although some of this is due to intentional fentanyl use. The vast majority of these deaths, especially in regards to young people, is accidental.
Many different drugs, especially pills, are laced with fentanyl because it's cheaper.
In 2021 alone, the federal government seized 20.1 million fake prescription pills.
These fake drugs can lead to an overdose, which can be incredibly dangerous. Drugs such as OxyContin, Percocet, Xanax, cocaine, and Adderall are most common to contain potentially lethal doses of fentanyl. That is why it is crucial to check the source of the drug before consuming it. If you are prescribed one of these drugs, make sure you are getting it from a legitimate pharmacy. If you are taking one of them recreationally, use fentanyl test strips to check for contamination.
Now, what does an overdose look like? Well, if someone won't respond or wake up, has slowed or even no breathing, is making gurgling sounds, has gray or blue skin or lips, and or has cold or clammy skin, these could all be signs of an overdose. And if you see someone having an overdose, it is critical to get them Narcan, which is also known as naloxone. These drugs function as a direct response to an overdose and can reverse the symptoms in minutes. Narcan is free and doesn't require prescription at any pharmacy in all U.S. states, and there are also over 11 naloxone vending machines around Marin County that give it out for free, so it will be very accessible to you.
Narcan doesn't actually have any adverse effects, even if the person isn't actually experiencing an overdose, so it's important to use Narcan immediately if these symptoms show.
After administering Narcan, calling 911 is key, and the Good Samaritan laws still apply.
Additionally, this is another great example of a time to use the recovery position.
When it comes to nicotine, a lot of people think that it's just a harmless habit, but especially for teens, that couldn't be further from the truth. The teenage brain is still developing, and nicotine directly interferes with that process. It can change the way the brain forms connections, affecting things like memory, concentration, impulse control, and mood regulation. That is why teens who use nicotine are more likely to struggle with anxiety, depression, and attention issues.
Additionally, nicotine is actually more addictive than alcohol, heroin, or cocaine.
While it is sometimes said that just one hit can get you addicted, this probably isn't true for most people. You might hit a friend's vape at a party and not think much of it, then you keep doing it until you just buy your own, and then you probably don't realize it's a problem until you're already hooked. Studies show that over 90% of people who smoke are addicted to nicotine. Alongside smoking, nicotine is a very addictive in pouch form as well, such as Zins. Zins are very easy to use recreationally, which means that they're very easy to grow dependent on. The truth is, nicotine isn't just a phase, it is a substance that can shape your brain, your health, and your choices for years to come.
It is also important to be safe when buying things online. Be super careful about buying drugs or anything like fake IDs online, because although it might seem easy or private, it's really risky for both your health and your future.
Legally, buying or possessing drugs without a prescription is illegal and can get you arrested. Even buying fake IDs can lead to jail time or fines.
Online sellers are often not trustworthy. You could be scammed or even have your personal info stolen.
Another risk is receiving fake or potentially deadly substances. Lastly, colleges and employers often review your online profiles, and posts showing drug or alcohol use can make them question your judgment and responsibility. So even if it's just for fun, it can severely affect your chances of admission or of getting a job. It is important to be careful when posting things online, as they could detrimentally impact your future.
As the video comes to an end, we would like you to turn and talk to the person next to you about what your 3 biggest takeaways from this video are.
Thank you for watching.
And we hope you make smart decisions.